Hi, welcome back to 5 Minutes with, and I'm Sherry Clark, and I'll be your host. And today we have Rob Stevens of Leadership for Now. Hi, Rob.
Hi, good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming on this show.
Thank you.
And so I want to learn a little bit more about Leadership for Now. Tell us about what Leadership for Now is about.
So Leadership for Now is an organization that focuses on helping organizations to do whatever it is that they do better. In particular areas around leadership development, management training, in some cases coaching, personality assessments, things like that, as well as other training projects and other specific training needs that organizations have.
So how long has it been around, Leadership for Now?
Leadership for Now has been around for little over 7 years now that our business has been in place. Prior to that, spent 25 or so years in the training space for various organizations like Citibank, Adecco, other large organizations.
Oh, that's interesting. And my next question was, how did you get into it?
So a long time ago, I was a personal banker in a busy branch in Chicago, across from the Art Institute. And I had been doing that for a couple of years and had the opportunity to move into training and go from doing the job to teaching personal bankers and managers and others how to do their job. And that was really the starting point. And it's actually an important part of my story because I entered into the training space very much with an approach around let's make sure people can do what they need to do, as opposed to, in some cases, there's a lot more focus on, I'll say, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and some elements, but people don't necessarily walk out of a workshop, class, some type of training being able to do what they need to do.
Yeah, application, right?
Yeah, very much.
So you were a corporate trainer.
Correct.
Then, and
Correct.
then you transitioned into entrepreneurship.
Eventually, yes. Yeah. In the midst of that as well, I ran a custom learning business for about 12 years as well, and building a lot of online and that type of training, e-learning, things like that for large corporations. So that's been very helpful in what I do as well.
Yeah, you seem to have a really good resume to back up what you do and your skills today. You know, I just have heard so many people, especially in that area, like COVID, it either helped them or it turned them upside down. How did that affect you?
So there's no question that the leadership development training space got very quiet with COVID. Organizations were trying to figure out how to survive, weren't as focused on development and some of those. But what it did for me is it gave me the opportunity to step back and take a look at what were some of the things that were most important to me and what are some of the things that I wanted to especially focus on. One of the key things that's been really the foundation even before I started the business were these 5 words, people matter, lead them well. And that's really a foundation for, regardless of what side of the training equation or leadership development equation that I work in there somehow. And so what the pandemic did was it allowed me to focus more around, okay, it sounds nice, people matter, lead them well, it rolls off the tongue nice, but what does that mean? And how do I help people or organizations actually live that?
I think that's great because it sounds very client focused. And that's what I think people need, especially with COVID, and they were able to engage. I think a lot of us business owners, that's what we ended up having to do, is step back and say, okay, the world's turned upside down, it's changed. How do we pivot? How do we adapt? And how do we make the most of it for our clients?
Very much so. Very much so. And was another piece of that I worked on at that point was really going back and trying to say, okay, if organizations can only do one thing, what would that be? And worked on some things really around what I would call leadership essentials and you know, our managers, leaders, at least doing these things And if they aren't, then they're probably missing the boat, they're missing opportunities, people aren't clear on what their goals are, a number of those things. So spend some real time focusing around, okay, what are really the keys, what are the essentials for somebody, and there's all kinds of other fancy stuff and more complicated stuff and that, but that was another key piece.
What do I'm listening to all the services you provide and the areas you hit. And again, as an entrepreneur, what are you most passionate about? What rocks your boat and gets you all excited when you wake up in the morning and saying, woohoo, another day, let's do it?
Well, with any client, with anyone I work with, what I focus on is really, what are they trying to do? Well, what are they trying to accomplish? What do they need? And I really enjoy engaging and understanding that. Well, what's the focus need to be? Is it a specific workshop or a class or a curriculum? Is it, look, my leadership or my leaders and managers, they really need help. And so that's one of the pieces. One of the leadership things that I will say that I do see as very foundational, and I'll just say I kind of geek out a bit, is situational leadership. Ken Blanchard's situational leadership. It's been around for a long time, and more and more and more, I just see it as such a critical element for organizations. And yet so many times I see people kind of violate some of the rules of it, and they pay the price for it in results and in turnover and in a variety of other ways.
Situational leadership. I like that word. I like it. And it is kind of like being in a situation, and you have to pivot, you have to adapt according to that situation, and you have to be kind of fast on your feet to make those decisions.
Yep.
Because as an entrepreneur, that's what you got to do. You stop, and the buck stops with you, and you've got to figure out how you're going to do this and what's the best for your team, for your clients.
Exactly.
So that's great. Well, Rob, how can people contact you?
The easiest way is either send me an email at rob@leadershipfornow.com or go out to my website, leadershipfornow.com, and it's leadershipfornow.com is easiest way to find me and contact me.
Great. Well, I would love to contact you because I think you've got some great services to offer people in leadership that leaders need help.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on 5 Minutes With.